Welcome to the new river season 2022-23 here on the Severn. Firstly on the opening day and a couple of sessions thereafter, trying to tempt Bertie Barbel and cheeky chub, so we'll see how we get on. So I've set up on a very popular peg for my first session with my standard approach, a downstream rod with a 2-ounce block end feeder filled with hemp and barbel mixed ground bait and 3 8mm robin red pellets on a size 6 hair rigged hook. Cast that one about a third of the way down across the river. The upstream rod, I've got 2.5-ounce block end feeder filled with hemp and barbel mixed ground bait with 3 8mm halibut pellets on a hair rig to a size 8 barbel hook, and I cast that one about 3/4 of the way across, but I will vary that one from anywhere 2/3 of the way across to halfway across. I'll sit down and hopefully wait for the barbel or the chub to arrive. A few tentative knocks, and that's my first proper bite, and I've missed it. Maybe in my excitement I've struck a bit too soon on that one, but I've been recasting sort of every 10 to 15 minutes on both rods, so getting some bait in, but it's not producing the type of bites I was expecting. Obviously the barbel haven't turned up yet. That must have been a bit of a chub rattle and a bit of weed off the line. And we'll give it a recast. About a third the way across, 20-30 metres downstream. Set it up, sit back, wait for the barbel to arrive, or even a chub would be nice at this stage. And there you go, same problem as before, probably a little bit over keen. Another missed bite. But probably a small chub. At least the chiff chaffs kept singing. And away. Oh, on the back. Okay, back on the Severn exactly 1 week later from the start of the season. Again targeting those barbel and chub in a different swim this time, just to see if I have any better luck than the opening day. So we'll make the first casts, the standard setup, downstream rod first. I've got a 2.5 ounce block end feeder filled with hemp and barbel mixed ground bait, and 3 8mm robin red pellets on a size 6 hair rig. Cast that one down into the channel. Whereas the upstream rod, only a 2-ounce block end feeder, again filled with the hemp and barbel mixed ground bait, and 3 8mm halibut pellets on a size 6 hair rig hook. And that one's cast about 20-25 metres down, a slight angle, just before the rapids. So I've been recasting fairly regularly, every 10 to 15 minutes or so, and only the occasional tap on either of the rods, and just recast the upstream rod again. Settle down. Just hope that this session is a little bit more productive than the opening day. Still hopeful, of course, but you never know. This peg usually produces some decent fish, and you just gotta fingers crossed and hope that they will turn up. Oh, and there you go, right on cue, and a really good bite. I thought it was a barbel bite at first, but this isn't a barbel. Feels like a small chub. But it's just nice to see the rod hoop over and some line being taken. A little bit of excitement. And if I get in this in the net, it's no blank this time. Yeah, it's a little chub. Just guiding it closer to the net. Don't want it to come off, obviously. And in she pops. That in the river while I go and retrieve the unhooking mat, which I haven't put out yet. Obviously I wasn't that optimistic initially, or maybe I just forgot. Anyway, let it rest up and unhook it. Strong enough in the net. I'll pop it on the unhooking mat. A quick show to the camera. Nice River Severn chub. Around about a pound. But very welcome nonetheless. Just put that in the river and let it rest up before releasing it. Yeah, nice and strong. Just let it go. Hope for some more, obviously. But still fingers crossed for a barbel or two to turn up. Not so long after the first chub, just watching the tips of both rods, Not really expecting anything. There's another bite. Doesn't feel like a barbel. No, it's definitely not a barbel. Feels like a little chub or even possibly a roach. But obviously welcome any sort of fish at the moment, just to make the session interesting. 2 fish within 5 minutes, maybe the session will pick up and the barbel will make an appearance. Get that little chub into the net. Just unhook it. Just make sure it's okay to get out and put it on the unhooking mat. Quick show to the camera. Beautiful little River Severn chub, maybe half a pound. Quickly get it back in the river. Away it goes. Hopefully grow up to be a really big chub. We'll see how the rest of the session goes. A couple of hours later, with very little activity apart from the odd knock and sheltering from the rain. And there's a take at last. Just about giving up hope as it's late evening. And this feels like a decent enough fish. Perhaps it's a bigger chub than the last 2 I've had. Certainly pulling strongly. It's definitely not a barbel, but feels like a decent enough chub. Especially in the current. What the hell's that? Well, that's not a chub. Surprise, surprise. It's a bream. I haven't caught a River Severn bream for a long time. Certainly never out of this peg. I'm trying to unhook it. There you go. That was on 3 8mm Robin red pellets. No, it's not the biggest bream in the world. In fact, a lot of people call that a skimmer, but I didn't have put up a decent fight for such a small fish, perhaps bordering 2 pound. And the rain's starting to get heavier. So on to the final session of the opening 2 weeks of the new season. From a peg I've fished several times before. Fingers crossed we'll have a little bit more luck with the barbel this time. With my standard setups, 3 8mm halibut pellets on the upstream rod and 3 8mm robin red pellets on the downstream. Just replying to a mate's message who's further upstream and he's had a barbel and a few bream. So not really paying much attention to mine because I've had nothing. And then I've heard the bait runner and I've got a bite. And that's definitely a barbel, but it feels like it's snagged. It's still moving, but it's behaving very, very strangely. Yeah, I think this is snagged. I'll just move up a little bit, try and get a better angle on it. It's definitely moving, but there's a lot of resistance there. I know there are a number of stones and in the middle, only 3/4 of the way across, but don't usually get snagged up like this. Just put a bit more side on it. It feels like it's still fairly solid, but it is moving. Yeah, that's come out. Moving a bit more freely now. Oh, snagged again. Oh, bloody hell. Move further upstream to try and get a better angle on it, but it's still snagged. Can't really move it now. It's solid. Best thing to do is to put the bait runner on, bring the other rod in, and hopefully the barb will freeze itself. Tried this tactic before and been successful. So we'll just leave it for a few more seconds. It's definitely taking line. Yeah, and it's freed itself. And that's a relief. The only bite so far, and I thought I was going to lose it in the snag. It's not a huge fish, but you certainly don't want to be losing the only bite you've had, the only fish. And there's the barbel on the surface. Try and persuade it into the net. But as per usual, we always seem to make a dramatic lunge at the end. And that's one straight into the net with relief. I'll just leave that to recuperate. It's obviously against the snags put up a really good fight. Or even before unhooking it, we'll just leave it in the net for a few minutes. So a few minutes later, I've let it rest up and I'll get it out. Have a quick look. We'll put it on the unhooking mat. Just unhook it. Be back in the river for another rest. Make sure it's fighting fit before showing it to the camera. I've recast both rods now following that barbel. And we'll get it out following a lengthy resting period. Lovely River Severn barbel, £5 ish. Really pleased to have caught that one. First one of this season, so yeah, delighted. Also saves the blank late on in the evening. The wind's dropped completely. The thunderstorm's gone past. And it's a great feeling. Just making sure that barbel is strong and ready to go, and that's it. Swimming off strongly. Again, texting friend, and there's a bite on the downstream rod. And that's a barbel. Oh, and it's come off. Oh, I do not believe it. You wait for a couple of hours, you get one, and about half an hour later the rod goes again and you lose it. That just about sums up barbel fishing.